And I was probably making 20 grand in comedy in like 2006. So I was able to kind of like, I did a couple like temp jobs, but then around 2006, 7, I was able to kind of like basically just be doing comedy, and I was making like 20, like I said, like 20 grand. And so I remember I just wanted to get to make whatever job I would have out. Like I didn't go to college, so I wasn't ever going to have some big high paying job. So I was like, if I wait tables, if I can make what I would be making waiting tables in comedy,
Mm-hmm.
that's all I needed. So if I could make $30,000 or whatever, I was like, then I'll be fine. And that's what I'd be doing anyway. Have no education. Like I'm not gonna have some big paying job. So like I would just always try to like, just, you have those little goals. You never want to get too big on your goals because they're going to be pretty tough to reach. If you're
Uh-huh.
5 years in and you're like, my goal is to make $1 million, well, you could be 1 year away, you could be 20 years away from that. So you always want to have goals that can be reached. Your goals shouldn't be too high. When I was watching Bill Burr and when I was starting out, my goal was just to get off that corner. I didn't want to hand out those flyers. I didn't want to stand out in 20-degree weather and hand out flyers. So that was my only goal. And so I did whatever I had to do to get off that corner, and then I can go and then go to the next step. And then my next goal was to, like, I don't know, like, I wanted no one to ask me to bark, because I used to always
Right.
get, yeah, you can do my show, but I need you to hand out flyers. And so I was like, I wanted to get to the point where they would be embarrassed to ask me to hand out flyers. They'd be like, well, we can't ask Nate. So then then I was just trying to get to that goal. So when you have those, you can be much more aggressive towards those goals because they're not as high as they
Ooh.
should be. Your goals will constantly change. They're always going to change. Whatever your dreams are, it can change. I want to do a sitcom. I've tried 8 times and have been told no 8 times. And it is what it is, man. Like, it's been the hardest thing to do. Uh, but whatever, man. It's taken forever. And I mean, I'm in the circles doing it. We shot a pilot. We did everything, but it didn't
Wow.
work out. And so you got to just keep doing it. Like, you're going to get told no. Mike Vecchione, who you're about to interview, one of my best friends, I say this, one of his quotes all the time, which maybe he's going to say it.
I
But
hope so.
he was like, he would always say, you got to get the no's out of the way. And I always
Huh.
loved it. Like, so you got to get told no out of the way. So you're going to if you try to like get on a show that they're not going to have you, well, you need to go ahead and get told no by them. So go, like, it's like, don't do it too, or don't be ridiculous. Like, if you're like, I've done 4 shows and I'm trying to go do, the Comedians You Should Know show, whatever that show in Chicago, if it's still there. But that show used to be unbelievable. But if you were like an open micer trying to get on that show, it's like, that's ridiculous. But if you're like, I feel like I'm ready, it's like, yeah, then maybe go ask them. And then
Mm-hmm.
you're going to get told no, and get your nose out of the way. You got to get your nose out of the way.
Great. All right. Well, this could be a no. Paul Schneider says, "Is Nate looking for a socially distant BFF? If so, I'm willing to step up." So,
No, that's his first no. So
congrats,
he
Paul.
does 2 more of those, and then he's going to be in. Like, the first no is out of the way. We're going to do one more no, and then we'll be yes. So
Awesome.
let's getting it
We're
started.
changing lives here, Nate. All
Yeah.
right. The next comes from Skip Angel. He's out in Louisiana. He says, "Do you have a particular writing exercise or discipline you use often?"
I've never written word for word. I've tried it. I've written it in a notebook. I remember sitting down and making myself do it. I honestly don't. I'm scared every day that I don't know if I'll ever come up with another joke.
Mm.
Uh, I've lived in constant fear of that. I have no system to make myself come up with these jokes. There's a lot of trust in myself that I think it's going to happen. I mean, when I did full time magic on Comedy Central, I was like, I'll never write jokes that good ever again. Like, I'm done. And then I did the stand ups and I was happy with that. And then after the stand ups, you're like, well, I don't know whatever I'll do again. Then you have to see it. You never feel, you should never feel like you write a great joke and you're like, I don't know how I'll ever top that joke. You're in constant fear and panic that you're never going to come up with anything. I'm scared. I have a new hour, and I'm scared after that hour. As I do, I can catch myself on stage as I'm doing this new hour, and I'll be thinking, how can I ever come up with more material? Like I think that as I'm telling these new jokes, because I'm like, I came up with these. It's going to go away at some point, you know. Like you're like, I always thought like I wish I made myself right in the fact that I wish I had this system in place that I could do it. Now, all that being said, I don't have any of that system in place. Maybe it doesn't work for you. Comics are, you know, for how hard we work, we're also some of the laziest people alive. And so, but I know that I keep a notepad in my on my phone, and I type these notes down. And so when I do come up with a new joke, I do think of it a lot, and I just I can make my brain kind of get into searching mode. Like there'd be times I'll be like, with my new hour, I wanted like maybe one or two more wife jokes.
Mm-hmm.
Like I wanted a couple more wife things. So I was just a little more conscious. I just kind of opened myself up to like going like, all right, I need some wife stuff. And you just kind of tell your brain that, and you kind of just, I don't know, then it makes you more aware. Sometimes I'm like, I don't want any more family stuff. I want something that's like not family. And so then I'll just, you got to go do stuff. That was a big Bill Burr thing. Go have experiences. Go do something crazy. Like, I'm writing a joke about Chuck E. Cheese, and I came up with this thing that with Chuck E. Cheese, and I've actually gone with my daughter a few times just trying to get material. She has fun, and then I get to kind of have the experience so I can, because I want a couple of other things. So it's go have these experiences. I know, look, Seinfeld writes, he, makes himself write every day. Maybe it's like go around, look on the internet. I've downloaded little apps. I have this Curiosity app that just puts like weird facts out. Sometimes I'll go through those. Sometimes it's just like getting your brain like kind of thinking in a different thing.
Yeah.
But that's where you don't go too crazy and don't get on social media too much, because then you don't want everything to be negative unless that's your thing, unless you're a comic that wants to be like that. But you can be very influenced with that stuff, and then you end up writing a joke that's like very like, let me tell you,
Yep.
all this stuff, like yelling at everybody.
Hot breath.